Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's Real Talk Monday. Had a very, very busy weekend. We did the celebration of life for Terry Head on Saturday, and I believe that she would be pleased. I really felt I needed to go into a time of being quiet, if you can imagine that, to hear from the Lord of what He wanted me to share. Because here's the deal. Sometimes we got so caught up in the stuff that we miss what He's telling us. I mean, believe it or not, even just like the music, the going to worship, all the activities, and we miss that one-on-one time. Think about your time with your kids. A lot of times it's just being together, not saying anything at all. It's just listening and being present. And so God enjoys that too. And these are things, man, I've had to learn through the years. And so here's where God was stirring me. Thursday at 5 a.m., He woke me from my sleep, and I'm thinking, man, this is crazy. I woke up, and I don't wake up at 5 a.m. Anyway, I woke up, and I was awake. I got coffee. I did my devotion. Sure enough, God was speaking through that devotion. But He knew I had to get up early, because if I got up like I normally do, I'd be out the door, and I'd miss it. And so the next morning, which would be Friday to Saturday morning, I go to bed. Guess what? 5 o'clock again in the morning, my phone goes off, and it's music. You cannot play my music without punching in the code. And so I knew that I was supposed to be awake. So I got up, and then I started to mill around the house, and I went to a laundry room that we have, and there's a shirt that's hanging in there that I got from Eddie B. And it has his ministry, Conviction for Christ, or Conviction on it, Conviction Ministry. And there's a big old Jesus on there. Check that dude out. That's a big Jesus. Well, big Jesus glows in the dark, apparently, when you charge Him by the light. And I'd never seen it, so I really didn't think that it would work as well as it did. But I forgot that the shirt was in there, man. So I walk in that laundry room, and bam, there's this big Jesus, and it scares me absolutely to death. I'm like, dang, Jesus is going to give me a heart attack. But I was like, man, that's a big Jesus. And I started thinking, I was like, man, that big Jesus, that's cool. That sounds like somebody you got to know. I mean, because everybody knows somebody, right? There's Big Mama, if you know who Big Mama is, right? You got Big Daddy, you got Big Pizza, you got Big Catfish King, man. Everybody's big, right? So why not Big Jesus? And so normally when you need something, you go to someone that's got a relationship with Big Mama, Big Daddy, especially if you don't know them very well. And so I began to think about Terry, because here's the deal. Terry knew personally Big Jesus. That's the difference. She didn't just know about Him, and she didn't know someone that knew Big Jesus. She personally knows Big Jesus. And so during Terry's time here on earth, people knew that Terry would go to Big Jesus on their behalf for prayer. Well, here's the question. What now? Terry's gone. How are we going to connect with Big Jesus? How can we get connected with Him? Here's the good news. She wanted you to know this. You can go directly to Big Jesus. And let me tell you why this is so important. Because Big Jesus is still going to work on your behalf. But you got to know Big Jesus for that to happen. Because we're so used to going to someone, like even to church. You go to church, you don't know Big Jesus. You're listening to the preacher that knows Big Jesus, and he's basically relaying the message, okay? But it's time you get to know Big Jesus. And here's what the Bible says, so let's get to it real quick. And it says in the book of John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Me is Jesus. Me is who? Bam, is Big Jesus. That is me, is Big Jesus. And so you got to personally know Big Jesus. Man, if you want front row tickets, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you hook me up, Holmes? Can you hook me up with the seat like right beside your Father? Okay, that's cool. But you got to know Big Jesus for Big Jesus to intervene on your behalf, if you dig it. And so versus you finding someone else that knows Big Jesus, maybe it's time you get to know Him on a personal level. So when you need something, man, you just go directly to the dude. You know what I mean? Big Jesus about scared Rock Bottom Rick absolutely to death. Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. Have a great Monday. Bam! Go meet Big Jesus. He's the man.